All right, missional community and small group Bible leaders, I want to give you some thoughts today on multiplication. Now, first, no one likes the idea of multiplication. Typically, that feels like we're breaking up the group. And after all, we sold people on this idea of we're going to connect, we're going to form meaningful relationships. Why on ever would we want to tear the community apart and send them out and start all over again? Well, there's some really good reasons that it's not the way it feels up front. The fact of the matter is, this is just what healthy organic growth looks like. Where in nature, things do not grow indefinitely. If you got a summer garden, you're not supposed to grow a zucchini or a pumpkin just bigger and bigger and bigger. It actually ends up worse if you just keep growing the thing. At some point, the thing needs to reseed itself. And the growing times have seasons where fruit is born, then things go back into the ground and regrow all over again. That's the healthy, natural part of it. Or if I could give you one more illustration, if something has neither water going in nor water going out, it's called a pond. And it kind of festers and it gets gross, and no one wants to be hanging out inside a pond. Lakes, which are far more healthy, have inflow and outflow. And that's what your missional community is really meant to be. So if you're going to multiply, first of all, never use the word divide. You're not dividing the thing. Dividing makes it sound like this is a biology experiment where something's cut in half and then it's just dead from there. Sticking with the organic nature of it, it's sending a portion of it out to regrow. So if you have an emerging leader in your missional community, to encourage them to say, hey, we got a great thing going here, but more people need something like this. Why don't you lead something like this for other people? And encourage them even to take one family, maybe two, from your current missional community. It's their job to ask, and have them approach those families about starting something new with them and for the other friends that they have in mind. That's probably one of the best ways to do it. Another way could be, if there's an emerging leader in your missional community, you could hand them the leadership of the existing community, and you as the leader go off and start something new. Now, sometimes the starting of something new tends to be harder than continuing to lead something that exists. So the more experienced leader might find it easier to start up the new community. And a third way that I've seen it come about, if your community continues to grow and grow and grow, and we haven't had time for leaders to emerge yet, you could try this thing called subgrouping, where you guys eat dinner together at the beginning of the night, perhaps even read the scripture together at the beginning of the evening, and then you all head off into different rooms with different leaders, different emerging leaders, each facilitating the discussion amongst those who are present. And then at the end of the night, they all come back for the shared leadership of you as the primary leader, to kind of tie the loose ends together, as if to say, hey, if the discussion went all over the place tonight, here was the point of what you're actually supposed to get out of tonight's text. So those are three different ways you could multiply a missional community. There'd be a whole other segment to talk about the emotions and the way to celebrate that community, how to maintain connections amongst those friends, even though they're not in the same current missional community. But we'll have to save that for another time. One thing I do want to say is just the importance of starting with some emerging leader. You might look around at your community right now and say, I don't have any new leaders emerging. Well, that would actually be a concern. Because at some point, what God is doing in your community right now, He wants to do with another community of other people. And He needs a disciple maker to go out and make those disciples. So start handing portions of your leadership right now over to someone else in the room to practice. Even if you don't think they could ever be a leader, even if they never see themselves as a leader, ask them to lead part of tonight's discussion. Or ask them to start facilitating the email and the organization or whatever else it might be. Start handing little pieces of leadership to the people around you in your community. And you might be surprised who grabs a hold of it, keeps going, and finds a little bit of God's calling for their life.